Conquest of Bliss, a podcast about finding light in the darkness. This episode was produced by Kabby Productions. Today's episode is brought to you by the musical stylings of After Dark. They have fantastic music. It always reminds me of pop music from the 90s in the best way. It's so comforting and wonderful. And I happen to know the artists. And they have been very supportive and are sponsoring today's show. And I couldn't appreciate them more. So go to Spotify, look up After Dark. It'll be the one that has the song Colors and Breakaway. And oh my goodness, they're just so fantastic. I'm so excited for you to hear them. So big thank you to After Dark, and here we go. Hello, and welcome back to the Conquest of Bliss. I am your host, Kara Fernstrom, and I am here with the incredible Juan Lee. He's a transformational speaker and author of Love Made Simple. How are you today, Juan?
I'm doing fine. And yourself?
I'm pretty fantastic. I'm so excited for our conversation. I love the topic of love, and I love simplifying it. So can you touch a little bit before we get started into the juice of everything? How did you kind of fall into this? What led you here?
Well, I mean, it's a long story. I mean, to be honest with you, but the gist of it is that I found out that I've been in religion all my life. I've grown up in church all my life. And I struggled with the fact that it was so difficult to understand. And it was confusing, to be honest with you. It was confusing to get to the real meat of what I saw as the benefits from religion or from church, Mm-hmm. And I went on a journey to basically try to figure out what it's all about. And to be honest with you, it happened purely by mistake, to be honest with you, because I grew up and I graduated from high school, and I was confused. I had an undiagnosed learning disability, and I went into the military, and the military showed me things about myself that I had no idea what I was looking for. And what I found out is that, I didn't see the actions of love. Mm-hmm. I saw the people talking about it in all kinds of ways, but I wasn't getting the benefits or seeing the benefits of love. And so when I got in the military began to show me some things about what love really is and how you apply love in your life through various attitudes and systems, because it's something that we really have to understand about life. Life is nothing but a system, and love became that tool, that system that I use for my life in every aspect of my life to be able to reach the goals and objectives and feel make me feel the things that I needed to understand about life. It made life simple, to be honest with you. When I say love made simple, it made life simple, because everything was just, hey, if we understand this system of love, and it's the love for humanity, because now everything comes into place. Everything becomes to be a little bit more simplistic, because now not only do I understand love, but I know what it's for. How do I use it? What's the meaning of it? The purpose of it?
That totally makes sense. And I really love how you mentioned that you had learned it in the military, because I feel like that's really, really surprising. Not really something that the military is known for.
Yeah. I did not realize, but what love is a system, and the military is a system. They have a system that they operate in. Mm-hmm. And that's the way, that was how I could resemble, how I could come to see the difference, or how life in the military was similar. Mm-hmm. Because life is a system, and the military instituted a system inside of it so that everybody with the right attitude to meet the same objectives, the same mission, we would all be in it together. Yeah. And we would all reach the same objective. But we had to have the right attitudes. And what I found out was love has a system of attitudes that demonstrates your outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it in life. And the thing about it is what I've done is just use love to guide my way in this system, in this life. In life, it's a system, and all we have to do is plug into it. All we have to do is plug into love in life, and success is guaranteed. Because what it says is that we're in this thing together. We can't do it apart from one another.
So when you talk about your system of love, and particularly, this human love, this mankind love, they call it agape in ancient Greek. When you talk about that, can you just describe a little bit further what that looks like?
Well, it looks like we are connected to one another. One of the things that I like to say about love has three characteristics. The first characteristic is it looks like a chameleon. It really adapts. It blends in for the sake and the benefit of the whole. That means that if you want success on the big scale, on the big scan, the big sense, what you're going to do is you're going to blend in, you're going to adapt. And what you're going to do is you're going to sacrifice your individualness for the sake of the whole. And then the second characteristic is that it's a conduit. Love is a conduit. It's going to hook us up one to the other so that we can connect and so that we might be able to flow. Everything that we have I have no hidden agendas. It means that there's nothing that I have that I'm not willing to give, and it's nothing that you don't have that you're not willing to give. And collectively, we're going to be successful. And then thirdly, here's the one that really puts love over the top, and that love is a choice. That means that nobody can force you, but nobody can stop you. And so there is guaranteed success when we choose to exercise these just three characteristics of love. It's just three characteristics of love. And if we just keep that picture, that means that we're going to have to put some attitudes in place so that we can maintain those three characteristics. But ultimately, once we stay in that position, that have those attitudes that see humanity as our objective, is to be able to preserve and protect humanity. And that's why we love. That's why we connect with one another. That's why we want to blend in and be a part of the bigger picture, because humanity is bigger than any one unit.
I absolutely love everything you just said. And it's really interesting to me because I've been writing this book about friendship. It's an ebook. It's not been announced. I guess now it has, but, and part of what I'm doing is I'm really trying to drive home that idea that you were talking about, where it's not about just individualism and it's about a symbiosis, right? Like if you go into relationships and love with the idea of how can I serve you? And knowing and trusting that, not everyone's going to be the right match to be compatible in your life, but knowing and trusting that will serve you as well, is that service serves you.
Well, here's the thing. Your fulfillment comes in service, not in getting. It's in giving. And love gives. That's what love is. It gives. And when you see that it benefits someone else, it brings you gratification. It brings you fulfillment. That's what this thing is all about, is how can I serve you? But we've got to get past we got to stop being selfish. Okay. And love is no selfishness in love, because it's about giving. And here's the thing, there's a process to this. We've got to be able to have something to give. And that's the part that I think a lot of us struggle in, because we have a difficult time trying to identify that struggle, that gift, that who we are, what it is that we have. And so that love will help you find that. It will lead you to who you are and developing yourself and what it is that you have to give. But you've got, again, put these attitudes. There's 7 attitudes that I like to share that basically are the attitudes of love. They're in my book, but these are just 7 of them. And the fact is that one of them is humility. You got to realize that you need help. You've got to accept the fact that you can't do this thing by yourself. There is nothing that is sustained by itself. There's nothing. 100%. There's nothing on this earth that is maintained, is in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
We need one another.
Oh, sorry.
We need one another.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I love that you said humility, because that's such a huge piece of just success in general. And it kind of leads into my next question. I want to hear more about the attitudes, but it leads into my next question, which is about sort of, talking about individuality versus the whole, or individualism versus the whole, and looking at humility and, the ability to ask for help and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people, including myself when I was younger, I'm not struggling so much now with it, but struggle with sort of trying to figure out the balance between like self-love and self-care, and how do you take care of yourself? Because that's not inherently selfish, because it helps you to be better, hone your gifts that you can give and stuff like that. So how does that play into your system?
Well, that's basically that's the primary part that you have to get past. You have to get through that first, because before you can really give this kind of love, you've got to have it to give. And that means that you've got to prepare yourself. You've got to, know that you know who you are. And so that's where you've got to have self-love. You've got to be able to understand that developing who you are is love. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be able to do that. This system requires you to develop yourself. You've got to be willing to develop it. You can't allow someone else to dictate this, because in this world, in life will drag you through it. If you don't develop yourself and begin to navigate it, because it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. It is what it is. And so when you understand who you are, you begin to dictate how you navigate it, how you begin to see things, because attitudes determine the way in which you view things. Mm-hmm. And how you view things are the way that you will act on things. And the way that you act on things will determine your outcomes.
Mm-hmm. That totally makes sense.
And that's what it's all about.
Well, and so my next question, and this is kind of selfish, really, because I'm curious what you have to say about it more than anything. Okay, so you mentioned quickly that you were religious growing up, as was I, and as much as I am not currently religious, there's one thing from the Bible that sticks out to me all the time when I think about love, and it's in, of course, that. I want to say Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 13.
Yeah. But it's a particular part of it where it says love keeps no record of wrongs. And I feel like that is the most ignored piece of that entire little thing, and something that I struggle with, which is why I think of it so often, is because I find myself holding grudges, holding on to things. And so I think it's great to know that, we let things go, but like, how does one balance the self-preservation piece, the piece where they're not letting people walk all over them and hurting them, with not holding on to things and making someone a villain forever because they made one mistake? How does that play in?
Here's the thing. What love does is it allows you to fear, not to fear loss. See, love allows you not to fear loss, because what you're basically talking about is the fear of loss. Somebody taking something from you, taking advantage of you. Love allows you to not to fear that. You can't fear loss. That right there is the pinnacle of love, is the ability not to fear loss. Okay. And it's nowhere. See, that's where I'm talking about. You're able to love beyond the circumstances because you don't know. And I'm going to tell you, love will allow, you're going to have to be courageous, and people are going to think that you are out of your mind because you are going to be willing to give of yourself at a level that they're not going to be able to understand. because you're going to put yourself in positions that would appear to be compromising for yourself. But the fact of the matter is that you don't have anything to lose because you've given it all. Your whole idea is to give it. Okay. And nobody can take something that you're giving. Nobody can take it. That's why I said this is where love never fails, because you basically have the choice and the right and the will to be able to give it, and nobody can stop you.
That's a really interesting point. It's okay. Sorry, I just sidetracked just a little bit. That's reminding me of a conversation I had yesterday, and I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, this is the same thing I was talking about, but framed differently. Because I was talking about how whenever someone, this can sound weird, but you know how not everyone, lots of people have been like robbed in some sense or another. People will steal things from them, strangers usually. And I was talking to my mother-in-law about this yesterday, and because we were worried about, there's one part of my place that's slightly insecure. Long story. But I remember saying to her, I said, honestly, like the way I see it is if someone is in a position that they are like okay with stealing from me, that says a lot about how much better I'm doing emotionally than they are. So, and then I talked about how, everything has weight anyways. And so like everything I hold on to is like stressful anyways. So I was like, like if someone's going to steal from me, they probably need it a lot more than me, and it's a similar thought.
Well, and if you just take it all the way, then if you know that they need it more than you don't fear the loss of them having it.
Exactly.
And see, and that's basically the whole gist is that they can't take anything that you're giving. And that's the thing about it is they don't understand that look, the first characteristic of love is sacrifice. The number one is sacrifice. If there's no sacrifice, there's probably no love, because here's the point. It has no respecter of getting anything in return. There's nothing. I'm giving with nothing, no expectations. And when I can put myself in a space where no matter what the situation is, because again, giving brings me fulfillment. Okay? The only thing that you've basically taken from me by stealing is the ability that I don't understand or appreciate. I don't get the opportunity to get the fulfillment out of what you got. That's the only thing you get from stealing from me, because I'm giving it to you anyway. You can have it. All you got to do, if I can give it to you, brings me fulfillment. But if you steal it, okay, you stole it. I don't have any attachment to it because I'm giving it anyway.
And I think that's really beautiful. But I would ask, so I've been on my journey for a long time. I imagine that you've been on your journey for quite some time too, because you're very knowledgeable. So thinking all the way back to the beginning, thinking about being in cultures, I know you're in a different culture than I am, but in cultures where, capitalism is kind of, it manages to infest everything that aren't even economics, right? We think of our friendships in a capitalist way and all of that stuff. So coming from that culture, how do you get started without fearing competition, fearing being, ousted? All of those things that we mentioned are risks. People might think you're a weirdo. How do you get started in all of that?
Well, see, this is the thing about it. Understanding the platforms in which we operate in. And yeah, you're right. We operate in a capitalist society. And in and of itself, every society has their own method of operation. And whether it's capitalist, communism, socialism, whatever it might be, you have to be able to understand how it works. Again, this is called development. You've got to develop enough to understand the social society in which you're living in. And when you do that, but understand, and we just use capitalism as an example, capitalism thrives on division. It divides and keeps its power, its ability to be able to stand and reign over, because it's a system that really churns you up. That's all it does. It churns you up. It just pits, chews you up and spits you out. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't. You are no respecter. Capitalism is no respecter of person. But guess what it has, though, is the ability to divide. And while dividing, it makes love that much more difficult because the society in which you're in promotes that type of division. We in America right now are struggling with so many divisive attitudes.
Yeah.
And they are very much, it's a very difficult thing to understand, but I believe to know that love can connect us and can bridge those gaps, can tear down those walls of division if we choose to. And each one of us has that ability and that choice to do that.
I totally agree. And I'm glad that you picked up what I was saying, because I definitely wasn't trying to talk about like necessarily economically, but the attitudes of it are pervasive. Like I see so many, how many times have you heard, I'm going to win the breakup? What the heck is that? like ideally nobody wins the breakup and you guys just go your separate ways,
Well, see, and that's what I'm saying. It's acceptable to be divisive. And that's where it's like, it's selfishness instead of unity. And we are always better together. There's no relationship is, and that's even an oxymoron of it. No relationship is single. That means that it has to have more together. When you bring two to any group, any relationship has to be better or more than a single. Because the relationship now, if it's only just a regular relationship, any individual coming together with another is better than them being by themselves. And we have made that so difficult that we've said that we'd rather be by ourselves than to accept someone else's uniquenesses. And their uniquenesses are to our benefit.
Exactly. I was just going to say, like, I think you're speaking to the concept of interdependence, right? When two independent things come and make a whole that is better than both, but if they need to separate, they are still strong enough to stand on their own.
Absolutely. But the fact of the matter is that the reason that they came together was to be better.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so if someone wants to get on this journey and doesn't know much about it, what are some easy first steps, to self-exploration or?
Well, here's the thing. It's the attitudes that you really of love that you really have to begin to monitor and understand. Because what love basically does is gives you a view on life. And it's that, and that's through the prism of your attitudes that gives you that ability to see life totally different. See, this opportunities are what we're thriving for in life, is opportunities to engage one another. We've got to see value in one another. Not only first see value in ourselves, because that was critical. You've got to see value and understand what it is that you have to offer, because ultimately that's where your fulfillment is going to come from. But in the beginning, you just got to begin to see that there's everywhere. You got to begin to look and see value. That's a very simple. Hey, everybody has value. Everybody. It doesn't matter. In this time of this pandemic, I was hoping that we would appreciate the fact that we would see each person as valuable.
I like to think that is starting to happen. And I mean, maybe I'm just an optimistic gal. But I am, and it's very possible that I'm biased because I manage to keep circles that tend to be very positive and happy and healthy. But yeah, like, I feel like since the pandemic, I have seen so many people recognizing their own value and then like starting that process, right? Is I will not, like a really good example is the way a lot of young people are treating work. And they're like, no, if you're going to be abusive to me, I'm going to leave. And they know that they can leave and get a better job so that they can be a better person for the relationships in their lives. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing a lot of this kind of stuff where people are recognizing that value goes far beyond the dollar. Value goes far beyond what we can produce. And that's something I struggle with.
Well, it's the fact that, let me just share this with you. And I try to redefine success with love. And the subtitle of my book is called, It's the Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And what I'm basically trying to say is that once we identify what success really looks like, and I say that success starts with your peace of mind, that ability to have a clarity in your mind so that you can navigate life.
Yes.
Okay. Without that clarity, that understanding, we're subject to anything that's happening to us because we don't understand what we're doing here and why we're doing it. So we're just subject to whatever happens. But what I'm saying is that life is going to happen. It's going to come to you. But then if you have that ability to have a clear mind, to be able to keep that state of peace in your mind, regardless as to what happens, what situation occurs, that's what you're trying to protect, is that peace of mind. Because with that, you're going to have that contentment. That contentment, that ability to say that what I have is sufficient and it's necessary and it's needed. Mm-hmm. It's needed. And then what it's going to do is it's going to say to me that, hey, it's going to provide for me the needs that I have for this life experience. So I'm going to not only have peace, I'm going to have contentment with all my needs met. That's what I'm trying to maintain. That brings me success. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? Those components will be the things that will dictate or be demonstrated to others. And it will start from the fact that I have a state of mind that is at rest, at peace, clarity, that we can be able to navigate life and not have to be, we're going to be affected by, but not destroyed, torn down. It just allows us that ability to keep that state of mind for ourselves. That's what success is for me. I didn't get a chance to tell you, but that's the state that I like to be in. That's what I protect.
I really love that. And I would even add further that, because like for me, like, okay, I love everything that you said. And I agree that is also my goal. One of the things that's crucial for me to remember, because I was going to say superhuman, but I'm not. I'm very human. But one of the things is that, like, if I fall off the wagon for whatever reason and I end up, back like my old self, is I can always keep doing it. It's not, it's not a one and done. You do it perfectly or it's over. You can start when you're 60 and then keep retrying every year until you're 70. And all that's happened is that you're happier for at least part of the time.
Hey, my book is broken up into stages of life. At the end of each chapter, I say it's for teenagers, it's for young adults, it's for adults, and it's for seniors. We're interdependent we're interdependent of each other. We need one another. But the fact of the matter, no matter what stage of life you're in, love meets you there. That ability to choose love at that stage, when you do, I win. I don't care what stage you're in. And what I'm saying is because we're connected. And when we begin to pick this up at a young age, as a teenager, and understand that what we're building and what we're developing ourselves, these young teenagers, young adults, is so that we can have something to give instead of trying to navigate it in a way that I'm trying to get all I can get for me to be selfish with. No, the attitude is that you're building something to give something. And here's the point. You're going to invest it into humanity so that the next generation can be have what we have, to be able to advance humanity. That's what we're here for. Is to protect and to preserve humanity from one generation to the next. And that investment comes in when we develop ourselves and give ourselves back into humanity, so that it's like putting a seed in the ground and allowing it to grow into the next generation.
Absolutely. Okay. I really love that. I'm going to ask you one more question before I can ask people where to find your stuff, because that's going to be fantastic and I'm excited. So when you talk about the, being that piece, I think what's really cool and worth mentioning is about how it automatically comes back to you. Whenever any effort you put into having good relationships or being supportive and loving to other people, especially when the priority is not to gain something from it, because people can tell, it always comes back to you. Can you speak a little bit on how it's blessed your life to make it your focus to bless others?
I'm going to tell you, here's a very interesting thing about that, because the ability as to whether or not it comes back to me or not is not even my focus. Mm-hmm. The focus is, again, what I was talking about, is being able to keep my peace. Okay. When it does come back to me, it brings me fulfillment. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't come back to me, because see, it's not, again, like I have no expectations. I don't need anything to come back to me. But if it does, it brings me fulfillment, because you can appreciate what I've given. Mm-hmm. Okay. But if it doesn't, I'm keeping my mind and focus is on keeping my peace, maintaining my peace, and you, whether or not, because see, I'm not going to feel any way whether or not you return or anything comes back to me from this experience, because guess what? The mere fact that I'm sitting here talking with you right now, I am tickled pink, to say the least. I am just so happy to be sharing my experiences with your audience in the hope that it might help someone. That's it. I will never probably know it or not, but the fact of the matter is that I'm giving what I have. And the fact is, I'm hoping that it helps somebody. Well, and if it does, that's all it's good. But I'm maintaining myself so that I'm able to do it again and again and again.
Honestly, that is very much kind of what I hoped that you would what you would say. And I mean, of course, this is not scripted. I'm sure anyone who ever listens can tell. But that was kind of what I was hoping for, is that you would touch on that piece of fulfillment in giving. Is that the act of giving, like an example is, I'm one of those people, and I know some people hate it, but I'm one of those people that love to pay for the McDonald's behind me. Just love doing that. Makes me feel good.
Wow.
And some people get annoyed, but I figure most people don't. So anyways, so I absolutely love to do that. And I never, I've actually never had someone pay for me. Not that I'm not upset about it though, because I feel so good when I do that. Like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. And like our I don't know if it's our bodies or our souls, but they're built for that.
Here's the thing. And this is where it all ties together here. And you're using a very real thing. If you didn't have it to give it, you couldn't have done it. And see, the fact is that people think that getting is more beneficial than giving. But to get means that you don't have. If it is that you need it.
Yeah.
But if you do need it, I have it, and I have it to give. That means that I have more than I need. Mm-hmm. I have an abundance if I can give it. And that means basically what I'm trying to share with you is that, oh man, I have abundance of love to give. I just want to give it. I just want to give it. And what it looks like, I want to give you hope. I want to give you encouragement, and I want to support you. That's what I'm giving. That's everything I'm giving adds up to those three things: hope, encouragement, and support. That's what I want you to have. And I got plenty of it. It's in love. I'm giving it to you. You can't take it. I'm giving it.
Yeah, that's okay. I loved everything about this. So I forgot to ask you, are you okay with playing a game after you let everyone know where they can find you?
Sure,
it would just be you guessing slang.
That's great.
All right, so can you let everybody know where they can find this book, because it's obviously very useful, and where they can find you if they want to follow you? Let them know where to find you.
I want you to you can come to Juanleeauthor.com and you can pick up the ebook there, or you can go to Amazon and get the hard copy of the book and put it in your hand. What I would like to tell you though is, because of I haven't had an opportunity to share or support the people that have purchased my book. If you send me an email at info@Juanleeauthor, we can set up a Zoom and we can talk, because I want to appreciate and share with you however I can give you love in a way that will benefit you in your journey. So if you send me an email, we'll set up a Zoom call, and we can just talk about your experience and how love can help you. But I'm also on all the other social medias, by the way. I'm on Facebook at Juanleeauthor, Instagram at Juanleeauthor. I'm on Twitter at Love Made Simple, and then LinkedIn. You can get me at Juan Lee also. But I also have, if you send me an email, I can give you a newsletter. I have my newsletter I can send you also. So by all means, reach out, touch me, and I'm accessible.
That's fantastic, and I am going to join your newsletter. I didn't know you had one. I am into it. All right, so you ready to guess some Gen Z slang?
Yep.
All right. What does bet mean?
Bet means you're right. Correct.
Yeah. Turn of agreement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bop.
Bop?
Mm-hmm.
Bop. Got me.
It means a really good song. So that song's a bop.
Okay, got you.
And just to be clear, this is from readersdigest.com. So this is according to them.
Got you.
What does it mean to say cap or no cap?
Cap or no cap? Mean it's finished, I guess.
It means lie. So if you call cap, that means that someone's lying, or you're saying someone's lying.
Okay.
I know. Okay. Right? And if I just said I had the best interview, no cap, that would mean that I was serious.
I got you. So I'm hoping that I'm no cap then.
Me too. What does it mean to drag someone?
To drag?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. That would probably be in the line of carrying them, or basically taking advantage of them.
See, these are the things I would guess too. Apparently it's to criticize someone, or to I think it's rake over the coals is kind of the origins.
Yeah. See, we in my generation, they used to call it carry them, meaning basically it basically would give them an impression that you really, you're trying to carry me,
Doing all the work for them?
No. What was the definition of the word that you said there?
To rake someone over the coals or criticize.
Basically, yeah. You're trying to take advantage of me a little bit.
All right, so I'm going to do two more. This one I find really weird, and I don't think I'll ever understand it. Drip, and it's not an onomatopoeia.
I am clueless. I am clueless with the drip.
It's style. So the example sentence is, her drip is iconic. And I'm not sure. I have no idea on the etymology of that.
Do they tell you this is modern day stuff, right? Mm-hmm. This is okay. I'm glad you're sharing this with me, because if I hear it I will know what I'm listening for and understand.
So last but not least, what does it mean to say I'm dead?
I'm not alive. Dead.
Something has made you laugh super, super hard, cracked you up. So when you see them do the little skull emojis,
Okay.
that's laughter.
Are you serious?
Yes. So I'm dead, like dying of laughter.
So LOL is way gone.
Well, it's still used, but only by us other generations.
Wow. Now you got the doggone skull and bones as laughter.
Yep, that's what that means. Yeah. Bizarre, right?
I would be totally shocked. I'd be out of my wits with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I now know a decent amount, but only because of these games.
I appreciate you sharing that with me, because I would really not want to be offended by skull and bones.
Yeah, you're like what the hell? This is a terrible reaction.
Absolutely.
All right, Juan, is there anything else you want to add before I say goodbye to the audience?
Actually, I do. I am the founder and director operations of a new nonprofit called Clear Journey. And it's basically the practical application of love in a way of being able to share attitudes and life skills for success for the age group of teenagers and young adults. And all of the things, the proceeds come from the books and anything else that I'm in the process of developing a course also. We'll be going to the nonprofit to support the mission of developing young adults and teenagers with the right attitudes for success.
I absolutely love that. I love hearing about anything that's going to make the world better, because man, are the things that are hard really loud right now. So yeah. I'm so glad. So how can people find out more or support you in that?
Well, you can do it at the same place. I'm in the process of developing the nonprofit's website, but you can always info's it at any of the emails, info@Juanleeauthor.com. And we can get in touch to let you know what's going on. But it's all a 501(c) organization already been established. And so everything that I'm doing is to support it.
That's fantastic. And for non-Americans, 501(c) just means that it's an official nonprofit organization. Like
tax deductible.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we use all sorts of different terminology here, and then there's people in Bangladesh who listen, and
just know it is for a good purpose, a good reason.
I'm super grateful that you spent your time here, and I look forward to connecting again if ever we have a need. And
all you have to do is reach. I'm here.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to sign up for your newsletter. I'll hear from you all the time. It'll be fantastic. All right. And to my audience, I love you. Bye.